Okay, any questions on contrast and sticky so far? No? Excellent. Now, some of you, the next part that we're going to go into might be a little familiar, especially for the ones that took the May course. But this is based on a book called The Righteous Mind, Why Good People Diverge on Politics and Religion. It is one of my favorite books when it comes to building political arguments. We're going to talk about intuition and why it's important to work with the legislators' intuition as you talk to them and lobby them for your issues. I'm going to start by showing you a video. I'm going to show you this video. Whoop, go back. I did not tell you to start yet. I'm going to show you this video, and afterwards I'm going to ask you a question. There's only two possible answers to the questions. The answers are Mac or PC. So everyone on the count of three, shout out Mac. 1, 2, 3. That was the worst shouting ever. You guys are like terrible at yelling. Okay, and on the count of three, shout PC. 1, 2, 3. PC. That was so much better. Okay, so the answers are Mac or PC. There is no other answer to that. Now again, typically I give this to more politically minded groups, so the question is going to be a politically minded one, but the answers are only Mac or PC, and I promise even if you're not politically minded, you're going to understand the question and get the answer right. Okay, you ready? Here comes the video.
What's your big plan?
I might make a home movie or maybe create a website, try out my built-in camera. I can do it all right out of the box, so what about you?
Well, first I got to download those new drivers, and I got to erase the trial software that came on my hard drive.
Sweet.
And I've got a lot of manuals to read.
You know, it sounds like you have a lot of stuff to do before you do any stuff, so I'm just going to get started because I'm kind of excited. Let me know when you're ready.
Actually, the rest of me's in some other boxes, so I'll meet up with you later.
Okay, so he's a Mac, he's a PC. The question is, which one is conservative? 1, 2, 3.
Mac. PC.
Okay. Which one is conservative? 1, 2, 3. Still, you guys are terrible at yelling out your answers. Okay, I actually had 2 Mac people answer first. And then the group kind of was like, or PC. Okay, so who is my Mac people over here? I heard Mac. Okay, why Mac?
Well, it's simple.
Mac is conservative because it's simple?
Yeah, simple. Right, it works out of the box.
It works out of the box. Okay, you were a Mac person also?
I was not.
You were a Mac. Okay, who was my Mac people? You were a Mac.
Well, I mean, I guess the idea is that conservatives, you know, they're more efficient, less government, less...
Conservatives are more efficient, less government, less red tape, so therefore Mac is the conservative. Okay, you were the first to say PC. Why is PC the conservative? Because conservatives wear red ties. Oh, he's got a red tie on. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and I never even realized his tie was red. Okay, that was the first time somebody's given me that. Usually it's just conservatives wear ties. This time it's red ties. Okay, why else? And then when I asked again, everybody else kind of said PC. So you were a PC person. Why?
Because the PC is the traditional, it's older.
PC is traditional, it's older, it's stodgy, it's boring. And conservatives are traditional, older, stodgy, and boring, right? Yeah, and the woman next to him is like, yeah, you know it. Okay, so thank God I'm old, stodgy, boring. Okay, so the question is actually not really which one is conservative. The question I really want you to answer and think about is, what took you longer to decide, which one or why? For those of you that answered why, what took you longer, which one or why? Why? Why took you longer? The guy who didn't even answer yelled out why. The why takes you longer because why is reasoning. Reasoning is conscious thought. Your brain actually has to process and look for memories to put in the words the answer to why. The which one is intuition. Intuition is based on pattern recognition. It's pattern recognition, it's looking at behaviors, it's looking at how somebody dresses, it's looking at the words that they use, and you're identifying patterns, And then it just automatically, your brain automatically matches up those patterns to the solution without you having to think about it. It's judging, it's choosing, it is automatic. Something interesting here. Your intuition is shaped by your education and your experience. Now, at the Leadership Institute, when we teach public speaking, we say you want to repeat things that are important at least 3 times. Sometimes you drop the tone of your voice to make people pay attention, and you say it slowly. Intuition is shaped by your education and your experience. So your intuition is shaped by your education and your experience. Okay, so now step away from what we're talking about for just a moment and pretend that your kids are in school and their experience is that dad or mom, the non-custodial parent, is not around, and that maybe the teacher at school is talking about how great it is to only have, let's say she's going through a messy divorce, how great it is to only have one parent in the household, and it's so much better this way. That is forming your kids' education, or your kids' intuition. So be careful about what they're learning and when they're learning it, because the things that they're learning in school and the experiences that they're going through when you're not there are shaping their intuition, which then directs their output, their outlook on life. So again, your intuition shaped by your education and your experience, it's pattern recognition. The reasoning, the why, it's conscious thought. This is important when you think about this. Okay, so there's this book called The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. It was published in 2012, and he did tons of research through the years on what is intuition, how is intuition built. And what he says is that your brain has got 2 minds. One is the rider, and the other is the elephant. This is me on an elephant. If that elephant got thirsty, and I'm telling you right now, there is a river to the left. If the elephant got thirsty, where was that elephant going? To the river, right? Was there any way I was controlling that elephant? Absolutely not. Your intuition is going to go where your intuition wants to go. It takes effort, it takes time, it takes willpower for your reasoning to overturn, to correct the direction the elephant goes in. So if the elephant wanted to go to the water, and I was like, you know what, it's hot and I want off this elephant, so as soon as he gets to the water, I'm going to duck out into the river and just swim, I'm not going to try to correct the direction that the elephant's going in, right? Your reasoning works much the same way. So if there's no will for your reasoning to overpower the intuition and say, no, we've got to go this way instead, that elephant is going to go, the intuition is going to go where it wants, and the person's going to stay on that path mentally. Does that make sense to everybody? Got it. Good. So that is an important thing to think about, especially when we're talking with legislators. If you find out that one of the legislators is a single custodial parent and they enjoy the lots of money that they're getting from the non-custodial parent, child support, that's the word, and are you going to be able to easily turn that person to be an advocate for shared parenting? Probably not. Maybe you talk to them about some of the other issues, but you don't talk to them about child support being their number one thing, because their brain is not going to be in a position where it's easily turned, where you're going to overcome their intuition very easily. It's also important because if you've got people in the legislature who have got lots of experience in family law, or they've got lots of experience with broken families, they may already have an intuition built by education and experience that goes one way, and you're going to have to educate them and pull them and guide them into a different direction. And I'm going to show you how to do that, because the advantage in communications goes with the person whose intuition is on their side. But you can work even with somebody who's got an intuition that's negative to yours by figuring out what are the little trigger points that point them in your direction. So this is the audience judgment making model. If, let's just say, Sorry, I'm going to use a political example because it's an easy one to see. Let's just say I was out door knocking for a candidate. We're all sitting around with our candidates' t-shirts on, and the waitress comes up to us and says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy tonight. How are you guys doing?" You're like, "We're great. Why are you happy?" And she goes, "Well, my son has been sick since he was 6 months old. It's been 6 years, but now because of Obamacare, we finally have medical coverage, and I finally got him into a doctor, and we finally got a diagnosis. He's going to be cured in 6 weeks, all because Obamacare is great." So what does your candidate do? You guys are all advocating for a candidate. How does your candidate feel about Obamacare? And you're like, "He wants to repeal and replace Obamacare. Vote for us." Is that waitress going to be like, "Yes, you've got my vote," or is she going to be like, "Go to heck"? Go to heck, right? The same thing if you've got legislator. I just gave you the example of a legislator who's maybe the non-custodial parent who enjoys getting child support. If you guys walk up and be like, "Hey, we need to have shared parenting, and if there's shared parenting and it's 50-50, there should be no child support," she's going to look at you and go, "Y'all are nuts," right? So what we need to do, so that message would go up the rejection side. We need to find ways to go up the acceptance side. So if I said to that waitress, "Wow, my guy has got this plan that's going to revolutionize healthcare and make it so that there's lower premiums and lower deductibles so that you can actually be home with your kid, and also you've got more choice, so you don't have to wait until your doctor becomes available. You can choose any doctor who's available because now you've got private healthcare that you get to decide which one." Wouldn't that be great? Is she going to accept that or reject that answer, that model? It's more acceptable to her, right? I told her I was going to repeal and replace Obamacare, but she was like, "Oh, this sounds interesting. Tell me more." If you say to the legislator, the custodial parent legislator, "Well, I'm up here making sure that fathers have to stay involved in their children's lives, that they're not allowed to duck out and leave, that they have to participate, and they're not allowed to just abandon their kids." It's one of the results of equal shared parenting, right? There's no cop-out. Is that going to be a more acceptable answer? Yeah. So we can find ways to work with intuition, even if the person is intuitively against us. We just have to look for those options. And I'm going to show you some of those. By the way, don't make anybody's elephant angry. Angry elephants cannot think clearly. Angry elephants can't process rational thought. So if you upset somebody's intuition so much that they become rageful, they can't process rational thought. Now, the only time you actually want to make somebody angry is maybe on purpose, because then you can direct them to vote for or work with you or support your cause. So maybe you share the case of, I'm a father, I was trying to be participating in my daughter's life. Actually, true story out of South Dakota. I'm the stepfather. We were trying to participate in our daughter's life. The other parent had custody, and she had mental health issues, and then she got checked in. He checked her into a clinic without our knowledge. She ran away or was abducted in the middle of the night, and we've never seen her again. It's been 10 years or 4 years, whatever the story is. I can't remember exactly. But there is no way that he should have been able to choose which mental health hospital, or that we should have been left out of her life. That's a story that might make somebody angry enough that they say, "Yes, we want to work with you on this." I'm not overwhelming them with so much anger that they're losing their ability for rational thought. But two of the things that one of the downloads that you're going to get is a list of public policy, the laws of public policy. They're collected by Morton Blackwell. One of them is don't get mad except on purpose. So righteous anger is great, but you need to control it because you still need to be able to think on your feet during that committee hearing. So even if you're showing anger, make sure you're still thinking rationally. And moral outrage is the most powerful motivating force in politics. And when you're entering that state house, you are entering the world of politics. So if you can get them to have moral outrage on your behalf, they're more likely to fight for, advocate for, champion your cause. So don't be afraid to show those bits of emotion that will make them angry. Okay? Yes, sir?
Just to follow up on that, the other side of the coin.
Come on up. I can't go any closer.
Yep. And just to follow up on that, the other side of the coin is also
Legislators that are in opposition are going to try to turn you into an angry elephant, because they are going to, with the same motivator exists on our behalf, that we don't want to have them be created into an angry elephant, but their greatest force that they can use when they're in the minority, but they don't want this issue to be brought forward, is the ability to get you angry so they can look to people behind closed doors and say, but those angry dads, parents, they're not here for the right reason, and now they've influenced a large room. So be aware of both sides and how that mechanism works.
You're only angry because you have to pay financial support. And look how horrible, look how angry he got. Did you see how he snapped at me? I'm just a poor woman sitting on the committee, and I just asked an innocent question. He snapped back. He clearly has anger issues, and do we want that with our kids? It's a good thing he doesn't have custody, right? Okay, so do very much control yourself and control your emotions when you're at the State House, because if you or any of the people that are with you are caught yelling, I mean, again, there's a fine line between righteous anger and rage. And if you're seen yelling or shouting or being rageful, it plays into the hands of the other side. Look, this is why he doesn't have custody. That's why she doesn't have custody. She can't control herself. Do you want that influencing her kids? Thank God we've got the law we've got. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I think that a lot of this goes back to the kids' positive life outcomes.
Uh-huh.
Because I think, I completely agree with what he was saying. You don't want the legislators to think you're just angry and mad. But showing them being upset or anger on purpose, like you said, righteous anger about morals, I think the best angle is get them mad that kids are committing suicide because they can't see their parents. Get them,
Yeah.
That way the anger, the upset and anger you have, they don't see it as, oh, he's an angry dad. They see it as, he's hurt because children are hurting. And
Yes.
how can we vote against?
Yes. So the righteous anger needs to be for the right reason. We're not righteously angry over paying child support. We're righteously angry by the parental alienation. We're righteously angry by our children now being at risk for dropping out of high school, for having an out of wedlock birth, for being incarcerated, for suicide, for opioid addiction, for overdosing, for killing. I don't want to bury my child, which is why I deserve to be in her life 50% of the time, 100% of the time, even if she only lives with me 50% of the time, right? See, righteous anger, bam. Yeah, I get a cookie, woohoo! Yes.
I took my children to my legislator.
Perfect.
So she got a good bird's eye view of how children are affected.
Yep, so she took her kids up to the legislator to speak. So excellent. Okay, so going back, I didn't put this in. Okay, so when Jonathan Haidt did his research, he found that worldwide, no matter what community he was in, South America, Central America, the Aboriginals in Australia, Asia, everywhere he went, Western countries across the world, he found that there were 6 moral foundations, 6 ways that people communicate that went in every single community. So these are 6 moral foundations. One of them is caring. The opposite of caring is harm. People will persuade others by showing that they care or by showing that there's harm. We've already talked about some of the harm issues here because we want to alleviate the suffering of others. The people you're speaking with up at the State House want to alleviate the suffering of others. We don't like bullies. We despise those who are cruel. And you can use that harm against the other side by talking about, well, our kids are being harmed by the current law, and here's how they're being harmed, going back to that positive life outcomes, right? Another one is fairness. It's fairness. We want to stop exploitation. We like to have a level playing field. Something interesting, liberals and conservatives, this is something you need to be aware of because you're talking with people from both sides of the aisle. Liberals and conservatives look at fairness differently. When you're talking to a liberal, you're going to talk about equal life outcomes. This law sets up a situation where kids who have a rich dad and a rich mom have a better life outcome than kids with poor dads and poor moms, right? So talk about equal life outcomes. When you're talking to conservative legislators, you're going to talk about equal opportunities. This law is set up in such a way that parents don't have an equal opportunity to participate in their kids' lives. See the difference? Both are fairness arguments, but the equal opportunities argument is better for conservatives. The equal outcomes argument is better for liberals, because liberals put more emphasis on the equal outcomes, and the conservatives put more emphasis on the equal opportunities. Next one is sanctity. It's our behavioral immune system. To give you an example of that, so like sanctity is easy when you're talking about like you would never go into a church and start cussing out loud. I hope you guys wouldn't go into a church and start cussing out loud. It's something that just, for me, being a very person that values sanctity, the thought of somebody cussing in front of my sanctuary is stomach curling, right? But there's this other idea with sanctity. Some things just shouldn't be touched. When I worked at the Cincinnati Zoo, I got a biology degree before I went into public policy and politics. I got a biology degree, and I did overnight programs at the Cincinnati Zoo. And we would take kids on tours of the kitchens after hours at night. And one of the things we'd always do is find the bucket of mealworms. Usually it was kept in the fridge, because that way they were kind of sluggish and they were slow and they weren't moving fast when they got fed to the animals, because they're cold-blooded. So you'd take it out and you'd shake it up just to give them a little bit of movement, because otherwise they all look dead. And if while you were shaking it, they're usually yellow. You guys know mealworms, you fish with them. They're like about an inch long and they're yellow and they're kind of hard. Well, every once in a while a white one would pop up. Pretty much every night a white one would pop up. The white ones had just lost their carapace, so they were nice and mushy and round and yummy. So I would pull one out and I'd like move it around and I'd show them how, like, hey, look, when they lose their shell, there's a while where before the new shell hardens, they're nice and soft. See that? And then I'd take that nice white one and I'd pop it in my mouth and I'd bite down. Why? Because I don't like getting the yellow shells stuck in my teeth, because I still have some dental appliances in there from back when I had braces. But yeah, you bite down on the white ones and the abdomen juices would just flood across my tongue and they tasted like buttered popcorn. They were delicious. And all the kids would go, ew, like she's doing right now. And her too. And they'd tell me I didn't really do it, so I'd have to stick my tongue out and show them the dead worm on my tongue. Hopefully dead worm on my tongue, by the way, because the next thing you want to do, if you ever do this when you're fishing, gross out your kids, it's fun, make sure you chew up the head really, really well, because otherwise 3 things will happen. One, if you're lucky, let's say you don't chew up the head very well, if you're lucky, it'll just go down to your stomach and it'll die in your stomach with the stomach acids. But it could latch on and just kind of dangle there for the rest of the night, so every time you're talking, you feel it. Or 2, and that has happened to me too, the worst one is when they crawl up in the middle of the night and they come out. You don't want that to happen. So I just violated your senses of sanctity right before lunch. You're welcome. Okay, the next one is authority. It's respect for rank or status. The next one is loyalty. It's exactly as it sounds. It's the idea that we take care of our own before we take care of others. So if there was a forest fire coming towards our community, we would make sure that even if we hate our neighbors, we would still go knock on our door and make sure that they were getting out before we went over to the next street, right? And then the last one is liberty. Liberty from oppression. Liberals look at liberty different than conservatives. Shouldn't be really that much of a surprise. Liberals hate liberty from oppressive corporations. Conservatives hate liberals hate oppression from corporations. Conservatives hate oppression from tyrannical governments. So when you're talking to a conservative lawmaker, maybe you talk about government overreach and how this law is onerous on the families. And when you're talking to a liberal lawmaker, maybe you talk about how this law is being used by corporations to control their employees because they know that the dad can't leave his job, and so he's being abused by his employer. Ooh, I like that one.